Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So happy Tuesday to you all. Hopefully you guys had a great Tuesday today. Bitcoin did pretty good. Miners did a lot better today, so that was a good thing. We have so many good news stories about Bitcoin adoption, supply shock coming in as well. We're going to take a look at that as well. We have a news story from TeraWulf about Beowulf, so we'll get into that. And then we'll also look at some of the miner metrics that I have for like market cap, and one other one that I also have for them. I can't remember the name of it right now, but we'll look at that. And then we'll look at maybe tomorrow's video as far as what could they be priced at if Bitcoin goes to 200,000 or something like that. Okay, so we have all that to get through. But as always, you guys know this, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research, full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into what we got going on here with Bitcoin right now and everything else. So let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now is down on Tuesday. It was down it's down on Wednesday because that's always ahead. But it's down for Tuesday. We're up quite nicely. We hit a high today of approximately, what was the high? High of 110,892. Then we came back down and we closed at 108,178. So it wasn't too bad. We're still going sideways with Bitcoin, right? We've seen this in the past as well. Recently we've seen this. You can see it here, right? We went sideways, actually down a little bit, but sideways. Same thing here. We went kind of sideways for a number of days, probably around 8 to 10 days or something like that. We saw it over here. This might be just the next setup for the next leg up here, potentially. Surprisingly enough, also the Bitcoin conference is happening right now in Las Vegas. And historically, Bitcoin has kind of come down on towards that, come down in price. We're down a little bit here, but nothing major like we've seen in the past as well. So that'd be a good sign for us here. We'll see how that progresses forward. Obviously, the markets were up today. The IWM was up as well. The Russell 2000 there was up. So that was good, which the miners did really good today here, with some doing even better than others here. So we'll take a look at that here next, and then we'll get into the good stories that we do have here and some of the metrics for the miners as well. So Bitfarms was up just a little bit today, up 1.9%. It's still below the 100 simple day moving average. BitDeer was up 3.73%, so it kind of bounced from where it was on Friday. Cypher was up 2.88%. Cleanspark was up nicely, 5.34%. It's still below the 200 simple day moving average there. Right, we haven't been able to close above that yet, so it's battling with that right now. CORZ was up 5.62%. Same thing with them. They're trying to get to the 200 simple day moving average here on them. Hive was up just a little bit, 1.02%. It's still below the 100 simple day moving average there. Hut 8 was up 1.5. It's still trying to stay above the 200 simple day moving average there. It's been battling with it, below it on Friday. It closed above it today. We'll see if that one can stay above there. IREN was up 1.32%. It's also battling to stay above the 200 simple day moving average as well, so that's looking pretty good for it. Mara was up huge today, up 11.61%, so that was kind of nice to see there. Getting a little bit of love. Are the shorts kind of getting out of there, out of some of the miners? Possibly. We'll have to keep an eye on this. We do have a chart that could go along with it, or at least for one of the companies as well, to look at. Riot was up 6.9 very nicely for them. They're still below the 100 and the 200 simple day moving averages. And Wolf had a news story today about Beowulf. We'll talk about it, but it was only up 0.25% on the day, and it's at least still above the 100 simple day moving average there. MicroStrategy was up just a little bit, 0.73%. Galaxy was actually down 5.16% on the day. Then we had, who else was it up here? Semler was down 2%. The blockchain group was up again, 24%. That thing has been doing really well lately. GME was up almost 6%. Small miners were kind of mixed here, 2 down, and then we had what, 6 up or 2 down, 6 up, 2 down, sorry, 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4 were up on it. CAN was up also quite nicely today, 9.11%. And then the ETFs were up nicely as well. WGMI up 3.58, BitQ up 3%, BKCH up 3.67, DAP up 4.61. So that played out to be a pretty good day for us here. We'll take any type of green days we can get, especially on the miners, when the miners do a lot better than Bitcoin did. So maybe the miners are starting to maybe front run Bitcoin again here, right? Last week the miners were underperforming Bitcoin. This week we might see them outperform Bitcoin here, and we'll see. Right now it's looking like that way. It's still early. It's only Tuesday. We still have a couple more days to go in the week to end out the month of May here. But we'll see where that takes us. Next, let's get into the good stories that we do have here on Bitcoin. And we do have, let's get into that here in a second. Bitcoin's still up 31.48% on the second quarter here. We're up 15.26% on May still. A couple more days to go in May. May ends on Saturday for us. So we still have about, 5 days left roughly, more or less. Bitcoin ETF inflows, it looks like it's a negative for today, but we don't have IBIT, which is BlackRock. That one has been buying up like crazy here. I'm guessing they're going to be buying up also today, which leads us into the supply shock part of it, right? This is from Quinton. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce his name. If I mispronounce that, I do apologize. But the OTC desks are drying up. Bitcoin OTC balances dropped from 486,000 to just 115,000 BTC since 2021. And yeah, you can see it here on the chart here where the OTC exchanges are getting really, really low on Bitcoin, right? You got companies buying it, you got Sailor buying it, you got countries buying potentially, sovereign funds buying it, companies buying it, states buying it. Eventually you'll have the United States buying it as well. Once they pass the SPR, we got a story about that as well happening here. So all of this stuff is leading to a supply shock in Bitcoin, which is great because that means that Bitcoin price is going to be going up much higher here, right? Especially as things are being bought up rather quickly and more quickly as time progresses even. We're seeing more and more adoption. We're seeing more companies buying it. Everything else is buying it. So that's great to see. So that's going to bode well for the miners, I believe, with obviously Bitcoin price going up. Their revenues going to be going up. That is all great. That's what I want to see. I'm sure you guys want to see the same thing. Next here is the next good story that we have here is actually kind of interesting. This is from Bitmain. So the sub 10 joules per terahash era is here. Congratulations to Bitmain team on launching the new Hydro miner packing unbelievable 580 terahash at 9.5 joules per terahash. That is the one to beat. I think this thing is going to be coming out, I've seen like first quarter of 2026, so in about a half a year or so. And that is just, I mean, that's really efficient. We could see by the end of next year sometime or early 2027 where these things are down to like even 5 joules per terahash or less. I mean, that's just making them really, really efficient. And the good thing is anybody that buys these later on is going to be getting a lot of efficiency. So meaning it's going to cost them a lot less to mine Bitcoin. And you can definitely grow your hash rate rather quickly with that. At 580 terahash, that's freaking double from what we have right here. Right now, we do have some miners that are like 300 some, close to 400 even with the current chipsets that we have right now. But this definitely puts the bar up another notch here, which is nice to see. And I think that these things are going for 23, or did I see that wrong? I thought I saw someplace where they're going for like $23 per terahash or something like that. But I could be wrong on that. Yeah, I could be wrong on it. But I think, oh, there it is. 25.5 per terahash after coupon. Right, so that's going to be happening there. So that's still really, really good on the economic side of things for Bitcoin miners. But the only bad thing on this one is you need those containers that go along with it. And not all miners are set up to use those. I wonder if they could also use their own setups with this, possibly. I'm not sure. But we'll obviously see other variants of this as well. They're going to be either like the 4U, 6U server rack size machines as well, and then just the regular machines that you could possibly put into, immersion cooling or something like that. But we'll see. So this is great news for the miners, I think. The competition is great between Bitmain and Bitdeer now. We also have Teradyne in there. Auradine. Auradine is in there as well. Canon as well. Others. So the competition is great for the industry, right? Better machines, much lower power draw, better joules per terahash efficiencies. This is all great. So that was good news there for the miners. Next here, just in Steak and Shake said, Bitcoin is faster than credit cards. We are saving 50% in processing fees. And then we are seeing a spike in growth after accepting Bitcoin as well. So that's great to see that companies are accepting Bitcoin, and the ones that are accepting Bitcoin are seeing positives from this, right? Lower transaction fees, which is nice, 50% from what cards charge. Cards usually charge what? Anywhere from 2% to like 3%, depending on your volume and things like that. You could probably get maybe a better deal on that. So if they're getting a 50% reduction in that, that's savings to them if they don't pass it along to their customers. A lot of companies will actually pass on the fees to the customers. So right, the 3% typically. So that would be great for the customers and for the companies that are also providing it to the customers. So this is all great news here. And it just bodes well for Bitcoin and adoption here going forward. Next here, Senator Loomis, the Bitcoin Act to buy 1 billion Bitcoin hits the floor next week. So it looks like they're going to be talking about it, voting on it, and moving it forward. And then we have another story on this as well, that they are looking for August to have the bill go through, I believe. And then just in, President Trump's executive director said Bitcoin is the golden standard We're not going to sell any Bitcoin that we possibly have in the United States government, period. They are looking to buy also Bitcoin with the SBR plan, which is going to be coming through. So all of this stuff is going to be happening here in the summer months. And that could really push Bitcoin even higher in price. You know, I think we could possibly get to like 140,000 before we have a possible little correction here like we saw just a couple months back, right? And last year, the same thing where we went down 20, 30%. So, or it could continue to go up even higher. Right now, based on the charts that I'm seeing, at least on the weekly, it looks like we could get to 140,000 before being too overextended on the RSI. But we'll see. Next good news story that we have here is White House crypto czar David Sachs said that Bitcoin is the financial system of the future. He says regulation by August, right? So that's where I'm getting my August timeframe for this, which is huge. This would obviously mean for SBR as well and all of that. So again, adoption, getting laws enacted, getting things on the books, this all propels, moves Bitcoin forward, and that's obviously going to move also the miners forward in revenue and everything else. Next, this was on the short side of things. So when I posted on the video thumbnail, you know, our shorts starting to leave a little bit. This is where I got this from. I got this from Ernest Hamilton from our community post here on Mining Mafia. He says, Cleanspark, it appears that shorts are getting out of Cleanspark right as the executives are set to speak at the Bitcoin conference. The pair trading is possibly shifting out of the miners. This could have huge impact on share price this week if these shorts decide to go long, right? I've been saying that the whole time. There's a lot of shorts in these guys here. And he's seeing here that live short interest percentage of free float. Well, he's not saying it. The app that he's using here, which is from, I believe, Interactive Brokers, is seeing that 12% has decreased. So 27.48% has decreased on that. Estimated live short interest is at 75.44 million shares. That's down 10.75 million, right? So that bodes well. That is good. So if we're seeing it in Cleanspark, I'm sure we're seeing it also in other miners as well. We might have seen that today happen in Mara, right? Mara had a nice run up today, being up 11% or whatever it was. So I think that is going to be across the board. I think eventually the shorts are going to, you know, change up their positions here to put themselves in a better position for the upside potential. But we'll see. This is just the start of it. We'll see if we continue to see this type of thing happening. So this is good news for the miners. I believe it, not just Cleanspark there. And then next here, Ohio Governor candidate Vivek Ramaswamy just announced to include Bitcoin education in public schools. This is huge. This is huge. Getting people educated on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, I think it has to go a long way in there. I think you also have to provide education for how to secure your own Bitcoin, how to, you know, how to make sure you don't get scammed and all those things. I think that's all important, and I think we need to especially educate the younger generation that we have following us. All right, the more they know about this and how to properly secure their Bitcoin, not to leave it on exchanges for an extended period of time, pick the right exchanges. Yeah, and just I think we need financial literacy in the school system anyways. I think it's missing. Even if you go to college, even in college, you don't really get that. You get into specifics of accounting and things like that, but nothing about financial education as far as, you know, what should you be doing? Should you be investing? Should you be buying crap that you don't really need, right? All those things I think need to be taught. So this is great. I love seeing that. And then next here, Jack Dorsey here, spend your Bitcoin at Square terminals. Merchants can choose to hold a Bitcoin or auto-convert into a fiat real time. This is awesome, giving the merchants an option, right? Do you want to hold on to the Bitcoin? You know, some people still don't have faith in Bitcoin that's going to go up for a long time here. Obviously, we've seen pullbacks, that's why people are a little skittish, but it gives them the opportunity to do both. You can basically hodl it if you want, or you can convert it in real time to fiat, basically. So I think this is great, and you're able to try it at the Bitcoin 2025 today. Rolls out to more sellers this year. And again, more adoption, more good things happening here where Bitcoin is being used at businesses and businesses using it, everything else. This is good for a couple of things. For the miners themselves, it means that possibly there's going to be more transaction fees, possibly, right, which would definitely add on to the revenue that they're getting. And then also as people use more Bitcoin, it's going to, you know, they're going to buy more Bitcoin and then transact in it and things like that. It's going to increase the price at that point as well because it takes it off the exchanges there. All right, so that's great news there. Next here, just an 11.5 trillion BlackRock managing director said Bitcoin has much higher upside than gold. Okay, so what does that mean? I mean, gold has a market cap of what, several $1 trillion? What is it? $11 trillion, 20 trillion? I can't remember what it's at exactly. but I know it's high, right? It's one of the highest assets out there in value. And if Bitcoin gets to that, I mean, we're looking at Bitcoin at several $1 million potentially. When will that happen? I'm hoping it happens in my lifetime. I'm hoping it happens within the next 10 years. That'd be great. Right around my retirement, I'd be able to retire a millionaire. Right? So that would be a good sign there. And if anything, I can pass on something to my kids later on. So I love seeing that, and hopefully that does come to fruition. Next here we got former PayPal president says companies are racing to get the last 1.4 million Bitcoin. It's going to be so wild. I agree. I mean, there's just so much adoption happening. So many companies jumping on board, trying to get Bitcoin on their balance sheet, on their HODL sheet, whatever you want to call it. Excuse me. And that's what we're seeing as far as OTC desks drying up. We're seeing the exchanges drying up as well. People are just hodling more and more Bitcoin than ever before. And it's more on the institution side of things, governments and things like that. Retail is going to wake up, unfortunately. They're going to FOMO into it. Except for you guys here listening and others that are well educated on Bitcoin, what's going on with it. Everybody there will be fine. It's just everybody else that, for one reason or another is dismissive of Bitcoin and its potential to change their financial future here. So educate as many people as you can, onboard them, yellow pill them or orange pill them, I guess. And yeah, I mean, this is all great news here. I hope you guys enjoy this segment as always that I provide you guys. There's a lot more stories like this. I try to pick out the best ones that I can that are a little bit more high profile than others, but there's just a lot more of this that's probably not being reported on, unfortunately, right? Because time constraints, we can only talk about so many things at once or in a period of time. But next, let's get into the miners' stories here a little bit. TeraWulf reported that they have acquired Beowulf Electricity and Data, streamlining corporate structure. So Beowulf, I believe, was owned by Paul Prager, the CEO there of TeraWulf. So it looks like they bought out his company on that, based on what my thinking is. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that was the case here. So TeraWulf today announced the acquisition of 100% of the membership interest of Beowulf Electricity and Data LLC and its affiliates, collectively Beowulf E&D. The strategic transaction simplifies TeraWulf's corporate structure and eliminates a related party relationship, consolidating resources under a unified operating framework. I think this is fine. I don't know if it's going to be any... it's going to have some benefits to it because I think they're going to be able to remove some of the costs there, some, potentially. But here's the transaction overview. The total consideration for the transaction is approximately $52.4 million, consisting of $3 million in cash and 5 million shares of TeraWulf common stock issued at closing. The agreement also includes up to $19 million in contingent cash payments and up to $13 million in additional common stock, subject to the achievement of key milestones related to the expansion of TeraWulf's data center business and project financing initiatives. Okay, I'm a little... Why is that being linked to that? I'm a little bit confused by this, I guess you could say. As part of the acquisition, 94 employees from Beowulf E&D, including Lake Mariner site staff and corporate support personnel, have transitioned to TeraWulf employment. In addition, the existing services agreement with Beowulf E&D, which had included substantial ongoing payments, has been terminated in conjunction with the closing. I think this is talking about the lease agreement that they had with Beowulf there. The company's previously announced 2025 cost guidance, including SG&A expense of 40 to 45 million, and operating expenses of approximately 20 to 25 million remains unchanged following the acquisition. So I don't know. You would think if they brought on 94 employees, it would increase that up, but it's still definitely SG&A is still really expensive. 40 to 45 million. At least my thinking, it's still pretty expensive. The good thing is they get to get rid of those lease payments, right? So that's some savings there on it, and they get to own Beowulf basically. So that might be beneficial to them. And this is what they're talking about here: strategic rationale, right? Strengthen vertical integration and energy expertise. Beowulf A&D brings deep expertise in the development and operation of power generation assets and related electrical infrastructure. Integrating this capability directly into TeraWulf supports the company's long-term growth strategy, especially as power generation becomes increasingly integral to high-power compute operations. I agree with that. I think that's good there. We are seeing definitely a crunch on electricity and electrons, basically. We need more of those, and we're not keeping up with China, so we definitely need more of that. That could help them out. And then enhance access to capital markets. A simplified corporate structure improves transparency for debt investors and facilitates the creation of a repeatable, efficient process for assessing project financing in support of upcoming HPC infrastructure initiatives. Okay, I can possibly see that. And then expanded investor appeal. The elimination of related party structure enables broader engagement with institutional and long-only investors who may have been constrained by related party disclosures in prior filings. Okay, so they're doing this to kind of streamline things and make it a little bit more appealing to investors. So maybe this is what they heard from investors and things like that, potentially. But I don't know. We shall see how this works out for them, right? They don't report any monthly production updates anymore for Bitcoin, so we're kind of in the dark there on that, and we're not really getting much updates on their HPCI initiatives that they have with Core 42 there, right? We'll see what comes of that and when they're actually generating revenue from that as well. But that's it. That's all I got for the news stories here. Let's take a look at a couple metrics that I have on the miners here really quick, and then we'll get into Q&A here. So I want to take a look at the miners' market cap compared to their revenues over the last 3 months and 12 months. I updated this today for the latest figures that we have for April. And this is kind of how things stack up right now, right? So you can see market cap-wise, Mara is still the largest, about 5.7 billion there, even though it should be probably valued a lot more than what it is right now with the HODL that they have there and their assets, everything else. CORZ is valued at about 4 billion, Riot 3.2, BitDeer almost 3 billion there, Cleanspark at 2.7, almost 2.8, IREN at 2 billion, HUT 8 at 1.7 billion, Cypher 1.3, Bitfarms at 600 million roughly, and then Hive at 308 million. Shares outstanding, well, obviously Bitfarms has the most out of the bunch here. It's also been around the longest, and it hasn't done a reverse split yet. That's the reason for it. We've seen companies like HUT 8 and Hive do reverse splits, which would have probably put them up in the same category as Bitfarms here. Cypher is 371, Core 363, Riot 357, Mara 351, Cleanspark 280, IREN 224, BitDeer 196, Hive 155, and HUT 8 104 million shares outstanding on those guys. If we look at the revenues for the last 3 months for these guys, and we'll look at the 12 months as well, we get the multiple of what their market cap is basically being valued on that at that point. Okay, so when we look at like HUT 8, their revenue over the last 3 months has been about 18 million. This is just for Bitcoin mining. I'm not including anything else in here on that. And they're being valued at basically 95 times their last 3 months revenues. Okay, so that's kind of the way I'm looking at this right now. Hive, which was got 26 million in revenue over the last 3 months. And also HUT 8, I don't know HUT 8's April numbers. So this is going back through January, February, and March because they didn't provide April updates. So that's the other caveat for here, for all these. Okay, Hive 26 million here. It is being valued much less, right? Only 11.6 times their 3 months revenue. BitDeer, 35 million in revenue for Bitcoin mining here. And it is being valued 85.5 times its 3 months revenue. Cypher at 15 million. Is getting 26.5. Core with 61 million is getting 67 times that revenue. Bitfarms 67 million here is getting 8.8, the lowest out of the bunch. Riot with 130 million is getting 25.1. IREN at 139 million is getting 14.9, and Cleanspark with 174 million is getting 15.9 x basically its revenue to a market share. And Mara 194 million is getting 29.9. So you can see that some of these guys are definitely getting valued much higher than that. And you can see the same thing happening here on the 12-month revenue side of things and 12-month revenue market cap multiple. So HUT 8 over the last 12 months is 98 million in revenue. It's getting 18 multiple on that. Hive, 100 million here, is getting only a 3.1 multiple. BitDeer, 141 million, and it's getting a, where is it at? BitDeer, 21 multiple, right, on that. Cypher is getting 175 million in revenue over the last 12 months, and it's getting a 7.6 multiple. Bitfarms, 207 million, 2.9 multiple, right? Doesn't really make much sense there. Core, 292 million so far for Bitcoin mining, 14 multiple. And then IREN, 385 million is getting a 5.4 multiple. Riot, 408 million is getting an 8 multiple. Cleanspark, 545 million is getting a 5.1 multiple. And then Mara, 663 million here, and it is getting a 8.7 multiple. So some of these things I could definitely see where they're getting HPCI business, like for Core, maybe even for, who else do we have there? Maybe HUT 8 a little bit. BitDeer, same thing. BitDeer has a lot of growth happening later on this year, so I could see maybe the growth potential happening there, but I think some of these guys are still way undervalued compared to its peers for even better operations and current generation of revenue and things like that. But things are the way they are. So I like to look at this as well just to see where the miners stack up on those types of metrics as far as revenues and the market cap's comparison to it as well. Okay. Next here, we're just going to take a quick look at the enterprise metrics as well. This has been updated here recently. Today, actually, I updated this, and actually it got updated as well later on because I updated the pricing on these guys here, and the pricing for the stocks changed today, so that got changed around a little bit again. But here's what we got. Current hash rate based on current hash rate, enterprise value per exahash. So enterprise value equals market cap plus debt minus cash minus HODL. I take out all that stuff there. And here's what we get. So Bitfarms is only being valued at 28 million per exahash, Hive 35 million, Riot 47 million, Marathon 53 million, Cleanspark 51 million, IREN at 53 million as well. Then you got Cypher at 97 million, Hut 810 million, Core at 226 million, and BitDeer at 238 million per exahash. Right? Could some of these guys be more forward-looking? Possibly, but yeah, to me, this doesn't make sense. I'm sure it doesn't make any sense to you guys either on some of these things. And then for future hash rate, what we know as far as being declared by these companies, I'm using those figures here, and we can see that Bitfarms is still the lowest valued at 25 million per exahash, Hive at 34, Cleanspark 38, Riot at 46, IREN at 41, Marathon 52, Hut 8 at 73, BitDeer at 74, Cypher at 97, and Core at 136 million. Right, and I think actually I ran the numbers on Core latest update for the daily production, and I think based on what they reported being mined and the percentage of what they could have gotten for the network hash rate and all that stuff, it came out to be that they're actually like at 15 to 16 exahash right now, which is down from the 18 or so that they were just a month ago, if my numbers are correct there. So I'm a little surprised by that, but I get that they're probably looking more forward into their core weave revenue that's going to be happening here later on this month here, I believe, or next month, when they fire up some of the megawatts there for that, and then the additional megawatts are going to be, firing up in second half of this year as well. So maybe that's what's driving that one a little bit more. So I can understand that one more so than anybody else here. But yeah, some of these other guys here are definitely way undervalued in comparison here. Here's the enterprise value for these guys right here. You can take a look at that, how that all stacks up. And then here is the enterprise value per BTC mined. You can see that as well, what that comes up as. But this is all I got for you guys on the miner side of things. Tomorrow, we'll look at where could the miners actually end up if Bitcoin does get to like 200,000, right? Based on just their revenues and and we're looking at like a pretty low PE of 5 to 10 with 50% net income of revenue and 75% net income of revenue, basically, or gross revenue, I believe. No, net. Yeah, net income, not including all other stuff. So we'll see. We'll take a look at that tomorrow. But the Patreon members will have access to that actually when I update this to you guys or provide this to you guys later on, either probably not tonight, but probably tomorrow morning. I'll provide you guys with this spreadsheet update, and you guys will be able to see that in there where things might kind of stack up at that point. Okay. All right, that's all I got for you guys. As always, link for the Patreon membership is down in the description. Greatly appreciate all the members there. They definitely help support the channel and everything that I do here for you guys. So greatly appreciated there. Appreciate you all. And let's get into Q&A here. See what we got to say, any questions, comments, things like that, and we'll get through it all as always. If you could always preface the question with a question mark or cute, greatly appreciate it. And give me a second while I scroll up and work my way down as always on these questions here. All right. What do we got here? All right. Koala asks, hey Seb, why is Wolf not pumping with the other miners today? Wolf announced its acquisition of Beowulf post-market. What do you think of this? Can you do? Yeah, I talked about it a little bit. I mean, I think that's good for them. But again, I don't know how much Beowulf is bringing in revenue for it, right? They're basically getting Beowulf, so I don't know. We'll need to see that in the financials, I guess, when they report for Q2. We'll maybe get some details on what actual Beowulf it brings into it. Let's see, Koala says, these miners are all disappointing. None of them all-time high as BTC all-time high. Remember, having event always has an impact. Eventually they will run, and this is the time when they should start running, historically at least. So we will see where they end up at in September, October, November, December timeframe. They should be much higher if Bitcoin continues to go up nicely. See, Rogue says, I had to break up with Bitfarms last night. My hopium ran out. Understandable there, right? They've been disappointing here this past year, maybe even a year and a half. So it's understandable. I kind of broke up with them last year as well when I sold 2/3 of my position over a couple months. just based on what I was seeing there. So we'll see how they do going forward. All right. Do you think miners can still 2 to 3x before end of July? End of July, I don't know. 2 to 3x, that's 2 months away roughly, right? Two months and a week basically. That would be tough. At the mine, Bitcoin goes to like 140,000, 150,000, maybe at that point. But still, I think that might be tough. I was saying 2 to 3x minimum if Bitcoin does go to like 200,000, right? I was saying minimum there. But you never know, right? These guys, Bitcoin was down today, but some of the miners were up 5%, some were up 6, 8%, 11%. So they have their days for sure. Andre says Bitfarms is a total disaster. They've definitely positioned themselves in a different light, I guess you could say. They're going more for the HPCI. They're happy with where they are with hash rate. It's going to be growing a little bit more for them, but not much more. And yeah, I mean, they're going for HPC. We'll see if they can get something done within the next year or so on that side of front. See, Private says, I want to get out of Bitfarms, but I can't right now since my average price is about $2. Okay, then yeah, you got to hold on a little bit. Be a little bit more patient for a couple more months, maybe. A couple more months, I'm saying maybe like 3 to 6 months. We'll see where it ends up at. But Bitcoin goes to 200,000, I would think they would be at least at $2 at that point. See, Andre says, Wolf is done, not touching that junk. There's also transitioning more into the HPCI, right? Any company that does the move over to the HPCI side of things, they start providing the monthly updates. We're seeing maybe Bitfarms doing that as well. We'll see if we continue to cover them as well. So I hope they do still provide their numbers. What else we got here? Probably got a question here. This one. What's faster, horses going forward? Nobody knows the future. Absolutely. Let's see. Private says Bitfarms could actually do a 4x from here pretty quickly. I mean, anything is possible. It's just depending if they get the love, right? Oh, sorry, trying to find another question here. Let's see. Helcom says, hey Seb, could you bump up the volume a little bit? Volume is at, I can bump it up a little bit more. Let's go here. I'm at like 95%. I was at 90. Let's go to 95%. They always say not to go to a full 100% because then you get some noise effects. So hopefully this helps a little bit. Let's see. Hello, Bomb says, mining stocks on an ascending channel. MACD crossing over on weekly. The breakout is coming. I feel so positive. Okay, great. That's great. See, Love Guru, thank you so much. Thank you for liking. Absolutely. Greatly appreciate you guys pointing that out. Yeah, if you guys enjoy this type of content, hit the like button. It helps me out. All right, Heinz's got a question here. I'm curious what people think about BTC price action while the BTC conference is going on. Yeah, I think it's actually pretty good because last couple of years we've had a conference, Bitcoin price actually went down into it. So this is actually holding at least somewhat flat. So that's kind of good there. All right. Okay, Ron's got a question here. Hey Seb, thoughts on Riot selling its position in Bitfarms and impact on price? Are they selling it? Did they actually provide anything that they're selling their position there? I checked the news release for Riot today, and I didn't see that. But we can possibly go to the SEC website and see if we got anything there. But if they do sell it, it's definitely going to put downward pressure on the stock price of Bitfarms and when they're selling it. Let's take a look at Riot. Riot platforms. What do we got? Report of proposed sale of securities, May 27th. Oh, that came out today. Let's see. Name of issuer, Bitfarms. All right, let's take a look at this here. There it is, screen. All right, so this is from today, it looks like. Right here, from Riot, May 27th. Report of proposed sale of securities. And what do we got here? Bitfarms, name of issuer, Bitfarms. Address of issuer, Ontario, Canada. Riot, name of person whose account the securities are to be sold. Riot platforms, okay. A relationship to the issuer, 10% stockholder. How much did they sell here? Number of shares or other units to be sold. What is that? Is that 90 million shares? 90 million, yeah, 90 million shares. Number of shares outstanding, 5. That's the number of shares outstanding. Aggregate market value, 97 million, it looks like. Securities to be sold. Amount of securities acquired. date of payment. That's okay. That's when they acquired them. When are they selling those? Approximately. So did they sell all their shares then? The shares were acquired through various open market purchases between 3/28 and 2024 and 9/3/2024. Huh. So did they sell all their shares there? Jeez. 90 million shares sold? Am I reading that correctly? If that is, that's huge. I mean, that means Riot is out potentially if they sold all their shares there. 90 million shares. What would that... that's probably not all of them here. If they had... I mean, they had what? Like 19% at one point, I think. They were down to like, I think, 14 or 15%. Let me see here really quick. Calculator, let's do this. Calculator, 90 million, 110,912 divided by 555,961,833. That's 16%. That shows me 16%. So, number of shares are on this to be sold. To be sold. Approximate date of sale, 5. So, I mean, yeah, it looks like they're selling it. And what did the stock do today? I mean, it was actually up a little bit. I think Bitfarms was up a little bit. Let's take a look at Bitfarms here. Where am I at? Yeah, I mean, Bitfarms was up still a little bit. I mean, did they sell that much? Let me see if I got the volume. Multi-time periods. I don't have the volume on here to take a look at it. But I was going to see, let's see, indicators. Oh, 24-hour volume. Let's see if that pops up. I mean, volume was not out of, yeah. Who did they sell it to, though? Did they sell it to somebody else? That's the interesting part there. Name of it was a broker, Citigroup. So did Citigroup buy that up? I don't know. I have no idea. But that is interesting that Bitfarms or Riot has sold their Bitfarms shares there. And it does look like they sold all of them right now. Interesting. Okay. So what does that mean for Bitfarms? Well, it gets right off their back, which is a good thing. And I think this was probably persuaded by maybe the, what do you call those investors that are, God, we're drawing a blank on it. It's not angel investors. It's the other one. Activist investors. Activist investors. There we go. Activist investors maybe have pushed them to do this sale, get rid of it, to be done with it and over with. I mean, but they're still losing money on it because they were buying at, $1, $40, $50, $60, $70, I think, some higher prices. So they're actually losing money on it because they started buying it, let's see, 4.9, let's see, 2024, open market purchase. See, it said it here someplace. When was it purchased? Between 3/8/2024 and 9/3/2024. That's when they were buying it. So take a look at Bitfarms here if we go back that far. 3/2024. October, September, August, September. Let's do the weekly on this one. Let's see where it was more or less. 2024 went too far back. 2024, March. So yeah, they were buying it like $2 here, somewhere around there, between $2, $1.80. We went down to $1.60. We got May, $1.90, $2.10 or $2.20 in May, June. We were at $2.30, and if they were, depending when they were buying it, but yeah, they were definitely buying it at a higher price. So Riot actually lost money on this deal if they sold all their shares. Based on what I can gather, it looks like they did. So like again, so the good thing is it gets Riot off the back of Bitfarms. They don't have to worry about the poison pill or anything else like that. And if they did sell all those shares, it didn't have much of an impact on price. Unless those shares get sold off by Citigroup or whoever that was later on, that might definitely put a bit of sell pressure on it or keep the price down for a while. But that's interesting. We'll have to see if we get any feedback from Bitfarms on this tomorrow. They usually provide something about it that, Riot has less now shares of Bitfarms or they're completely sold out. But that'll be interesting. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, let's go back here. Q&A. Let's see. Ron's got a question. Is Bitcoin still tracking along with the M2 supply? Yes, we talked about that yesterday. I showed a chart on it as well. It is still tracking along with it. It does look like if you follow exactly the M2 supply, we should have like a dip in Bitcoin here a little bit before it goes up much higher if it tracks, but it doesn't always track exactly, but it does track to the upside. So I think it's still going good there. Let's see. Nathan says, can I get a, what is RAWR if you love Cleanspark? What is that? It's an acronym for something, but I just know what that is. Bill's fan says, are we cooked, chat? No, I think we're still good. I mean, 76% of you guys in the chat are still bullish on Bitcoin and the miners here, which is nice to see. All right, what is the realistic peak price for Riot? We'll talk about that tomorrow potentially when we look at their revenues and things like that. And, you know, Bitcoin gets to 200,000. Where could they possibly end up at? And a couple of things. We'll take a look at that tomorrow. Jeffrey C. asks a question, what miners are good to buy right now? I would say, you know, I think, honestly, like Bitfarms is still way undervalued. Hive is still way undervalued. Cleanspark, IREN as well. I would say even Cypher, Mara in there. I would possibly put in there also. Riot to a certain extent as well. But some miners are better than others, right? There might be reasons why Hive and Bitfarms are way undervalued, so do your own research on those things. All right. Let's see here. Sheath, I think I'm pronouncing your name right. So question, 200,000 Bitcoin likely? I do believe so. This year, I think we could get close to that, right? With all the adoption that we're seeing and everything else, I think it is a possibility that we might get there. All right. What's the miner's cost to mine BTC? I got to update the numbers on that as well from where we were in Q1 figures. But the numbers are actually better than they were in Q4 of last year for a lot of these guys. So that's actually looking pretty good for them. They did lower their cost to mine through improvements in efficiencies and their ASICs being installed and things like that. I believe IREN is around 40-some thousand. Cleanspark is a little bit higher than that, like 50-some thousand. And then we got others close to that as well, like 50s, high 50s, 60s, and some are still in the 70s though. So that's kind of where we are. Okay, Michael says, why was Mara up so much today? And I'm so confused on the rally today. I mean, it wasn't really, I mean, Bitcoin rallied a little bit, got up to 110,000, came back down, closed lower though. But Mara, I think, might have been up because the shorts. It also has a lot of shorts in there. So if the shorts are starting to turn away maybe from shorting and going maybe long, that could be a possibility there because that one has been shorted quite a bit. But we'll see. All right. Michael says, a man in New York was kidnapped by 2 men for his Bitcoin, was arrested now because the man escaped. I saw, and okay, that's interesting. Ron's got a question here. It's going to be a year with Ben leading Bitfarms. Could we have done anything differently, or has things played out well? Could they have done things well? Okay, so that's the tough question there, right? When you're kind of being a side coach on this stuff. Ben took over a ship going in a different direction, you could say, right? Prior management and everything else, board was going towards Latin America more so than where we are going towards right now, which is more US based, which I think is better. So that change did cost some things, right? Cost time and everything else. And then when they pivoted to the United States buying Stronghold, I think that's a better play to go for. But it's going to take obviously longer time for them to also get to where they want to go. I'm not too big of a fan of them pausing their Bitcoin expansion mining wise. For them or anybody else that's pausing right now to concentrate on HPC AI. I'm still skeptical on the HPC AI business for these guys here, for all the miners actually. But they're going in that direction like so many other miners are going in that. They're all chasing that next kind of, carrot, I guess you could say. So we'll have to wait, give it a little bit more time. I think what Ben has done, though, is good. He's, changed the projection of the company in a different direction. He's gotten it more U.S.-based, which I think is good as well because the U.S. does want to become the leading crypto, capital in the world. So I think that is a smart move there. Getting the sites, getting things under control, being able to maybe reduce some costs with the acquisition of Stronghold as well might be beneficial to them, plus gives them optionality for other things like HPC AI. So I would give him a little bit more time, right? He's been only there a year. You can't turn things around on a dime. So give him a little bit more time. We'll see how he does going forward. I know Ben's a smart guy. Been in this business, been in Bitcoin mining for a long time. HBCI is something new for them, but I'm sure he's going to be able to figure that out as well. So just give him time. All right, so Melon here has got a question. With all the adoption, how have we still not seen a supply crunching? So much Bitcoin is supposedly being bought up. We are seeing. I mean, Bitcoin reached a new all-time high, 112,000 here just last month or last week actually. So we are seeing that happening here, but it's still being more controlled by the institutions. They are still in control on this, and 112,000 Bitcoin on OTCs is still quite a sizable amount, actually. Right? When you see Sailor buying 4,000 Bitcoin and other companies buying a couple Bitcoin, even a couple hundred Bitcoin or 1,000 Bitcoin, whatever it is, it's still going to take a while for that to get even worse. So as the OTCs get low, they're going to have to start going into the exchanges. The exchanges are the ones that are actually driving it, right? The OTCs are not really driving the price if they have Bitcoins on them. So that's kind of where we're seeing it. And then could the OTCs be buying from the miners? They could be, right? So they're always kind of filling up their coffers a little bit that way, but the miners are not generating enough Bitcoin to supply all the demand out there. So eventually the price is going to have to go up. Supply and demand economics, it's got to work that way. See, Michael asks, does that mean Riot sold Bitfarms, that Bitfarms a buy since shares was bought much higher? Well, the Riot bought shares much higher, but they sold them at a loss based on what we're seeing here, right? I'm not sure about that's the actual case here, but it does look like they sold all the shares that they had there potentially, but I'm surprised it didn't have that much of an impact on the stock. So it's either somebody else bought it OTC, I'm guessing, maybe, and it didn't affect the price that way, maybe. Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of there. We'll see. We'll see what Bitfarms provides as far as if they provide any kind of release on that. Ron says Ryan took a loss. I'm sure they took a loss on it as well. Right. See, Spin Records Service says SMG, exactly 10 months of good news, and miners are still crap. You got to remember, the halving event always has a huge impact on the miners, and it does last a while. Okay, Ron says, I think the sell will execute tomorrow, the 27th. Today is the 27th. So it might go, yeah, you're saying we might go through tomorrow, so tomorrow we might see, well, we'll see what Bitfarms does tomorrow then. All right, Private's got a question here. Would this make Bitfarms more of a buy and a good thing or a bad thing that Riot is gone? Actually, I think it's good, right? If the shares were bought in OTC or something like that, I think that's a good thing. That means the sell pressure on the stock is maybe lower there or gone completely, which would be good. And then it gets right off their back, meaning that they don't have an activist investor in them trying to either buy them out or something like that, right? So I think it gives them a little bit more clarity there around the stock, which I think is a good thing. All right. Davey says everybody's lost money on Bitfarms. I actually made money. The 2 times that I did sell, I did make money on it. I was in the green. But I still own about 8,000 shares of it, though. All right. Let's see. Question. Jason Les lost so much investor money on the Bitfarms sale, and yet he continues to pay himself an insane amount on share-based compensation. How is this legal? Hate the guy so much. Well, the investors there, the activist investors, might make some changes. Might. I'm saying they might. I'm not saying that they will. But they have enough pull in the company, it seems like right now, that if they made them sell Bitfarms shares, that's a lot of pull there. They made them pause on Bitcoin expansion mining and go into HBCI, more things. They got a lot of pull there. So if they see all of these maybe potential mistakes that Jason has made, they might eventually get him out, get him kicked out, right? And get somebody else in there that they think is better suited for it, which could be the case. So something to look for. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it is a possibility there. Trying to find another question here. Why was Wolf dipping today? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because of the news. Maybe does it mean dilution there, obviously? I don't know. Let's see. So what is the deal on Donald J. Trump buying $3 billion of Bitcoins? That Donald Trump a buy or a pass? Are you talking about the Donald J. Trump coin? I don't know about the coin there. I don't follow the coin. But yeah, the Donald J. Trump and his organization or his companies, whatever it is. Those guys are looking to buy Bitcoin and other altcoins as well. I think that's great news, right? Along with others that are buying it. Let's see. Any thoughts on Soluna? I don't really cover Soluna, so I don't really know what's going on with them. I believe Anthony and Bryce cover them. They might have more information on it than I do. Our Russ D says someone should get fired at Riot for Bitfarms fiasco. That might still happen. I'm saying it's not a pure 100% that it's going to happen, but there's a possibility that it could happen. All right. Let's see. Could you please change the Bitcoin chart in the background to the daily chart? It would be more interesting and dynamic. Thank you. To the daily chart. Oh, instead of the, what are we going? We're going back through. I'll see if I can do that on the daily chart. I'll look into it, see if I can figure that out. I'm pulling this stuff in from a trading view, so if there's a way I can get it to be a daily chart, I will do that. All right. Let's see. I'm seeing a news on lawsuit against Bitfarms. Could this be? No, I don't think that's the reason why. I think Riot is just going to be moving on to another direction. They're not looking to buy out Bitfarms anymore, and they're just taking a loss on it. And part of the, I think it's the activist investors pushing it. I think that's the case here, but I could be wrong on it. Let's see, Mara was up due to revenue record. Yeah, I think they have a really nice month as far as mining blocks, right, Eric? I saw that on X as well, so I think that might be the case. You might be right. It might be that, and I think it might be also the shorts starting to kind of get out of it, maybe. Rosenblatt price target of 20 for Mara was why it was up. Just $20. That's it. That's not far away from what's at right now. I think that's still too low for them. There's got to be something else that's driving it up there. Para says, hey Seb, hope all is well. I joined late. Unfortunately, have you seen Riot? Yeah, we talked about that, saying they will be selling their 90 million shares, massively setting pressure for the upcoming months. Horrible timing. We don't know if it's going to be months or if it's going to be just done in a day. They could do it over an OTC or something like that. I don't know. Something like that is possible. But yeah, definitely be putting. We'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. All right. Let's see. Questions or thoughts on Sailor's recent comments about not providing a proof of reserve, it being a security risk versus transparency. They do get audited by a third party there, so that should be in the reports every quarter, right? So that at least, no, not quarterly. I think annually it gets audited, right? Annually it gets typically audited for these guys, not quarterly. So annually we should see an audit of that happening for them. Para says, Bitfarms is still 7% of my portfolio. Should I rotate to Cleanspark, IREN, or MicroStrategy? If they haven't sold it all over OTC, that is, then this is going to put sell pressure on the stock for sure. 90 million shares being sold over in the next couple of weeks, days, whatever it's going to be, then it's going to be tough for it. But I think that's going to be a good thing to get right off their back. I would think that would be the case. All right. Do you think peak Riot price will be higher than peak Cleanspark price? Oh gosh, Cleanspark has less shares than Riot does, so I think for that reason they're also larger when it comes to Bitcoin mining. The only questionable thing then becomes, does Riot get a deal for HBCDI, right? If they get a deal, depending on the size of the deal, that could be the deciding factor, I guess, in that scenario. If they do get something, then it might be where they actually do get a better price, stock price, possibly. Okay, any idea on CEP and Hive? Hive, I know. CEP, I'm trying to think. CEP, is that the one that's going to be, gosh, is that the one that's going to be the 21 million, I think, is the company name there. That one I think is still coming up later on when they do the merge, right? And then Hive is obviously undervalued from where it should be. It's growing to 25 exahash. It's at 9.5 exahash now, I think. Is that what it is? Is it 9.5 or 8.5? I can't remember. But they're going to be growing to 25 exahash by the end of the year. A lot of growth here. That should help with costs, bringing down also their cost of mining and lowering their overall SG&A percentage-wise of their revenues. So a lot of good things happening for Hive as well. It's just, can they get the love from the street and investors and in general? So time will tell. All right. Okay, Para says, wait, Riot did not sell yet. It's a SEC filing to allow the sale starting. Is it starting? Or is it on date of pay? Let me see here. The approximate date of sale is 5/20. No, you guys need to see this. So I'm not an SEC lawyer or anything of that sort. So this stuff is a little Greek to me. But it says approximate date of sale is 5/27/2025, which is today. Let's see, furnish the following. Try to see if there's anything else. The person's, I mean, I don't know. Seeing the official person is in paragraph. Person, I'm trying to find if there's anything other to it. Notice a proposed sale of securities. So it's proposed sale of securities. Form one, yeah. So are they going to be starting to sell those shares? Okay, if they are, we'll see what the price action is on Bitfarms going into the next couple of days or weeks or something like that. If they are starting on today, maybe going forward, they're going to be selling all of it. I don't know, we'll see. So it might lead to Bitfarms being depressed here for a while until those all shares get sold. All right, let's go back. Not here. Oh, I'm here already. I want to go here. Okay, talked about that one. All right, going forward, which one do you think is the fastest horse, best one to have? Currently, I honestly think it's still Cleanspark, potentially. The only reason I say that is because they are not diluting at all this year, or at least not supposed to be, right? So I think the dilution does kind of hamper their other miners' growth, and it hampered Cleanspark's growth as well when they were diluting. So I think that might be a good catalyst there. But then again, if any of these guys get a good deal for HPCI that are going for HPCI, they can pop in a day and then just take off like a rocket. So that's out of our control. We don't know where that's going to take us. But based on just the fundamentals of the companies and things like that, I would say Cleanspark might have the possibility to run the best because of no dilution, but we'll see. Okay. All right. Karan asks, how high you think Bitfarms, Griffin, IREN, and Hut 8 can do when BTC is at 250,000? Well, at that point, that's basically, 1.5x from where Bitcoin is at right now. I would think at the bare minimum, these guys would be up at least 2 to 3x, right? That's the bare minimum. They can be up higher. They can be up 5x, 6x, 7x, depending on how well they perform. Do they get any news stories on HPCI deals, things like that? Griffin is a tough one. Griffin is going to be, it's going to become American BTC. So we need to see what that structure is going to be like for them as far as number of shares outstanding, all that stuff. We'll figure that out when that does happen. Then we can kind of maybe see where are they going to get to at that point. But I know that they are targeting substantial growth here. We'll see if they can do that as well. And then what is their cost to mine Bitcoin, right? Because they're using Hut 8 for that. So Hut 8 has to make some profit on it as well. So will they be getting, hosting for like 4.5 cents, 5 cents? It's going to be 5.5 cents. What's it going to be cost on that? So how profitable are they as well? That will determine things that way also. IREN, I think, is going to do very well also, but they're pulling on the ATM as well, which kind of hampers their potential growth here a little bit. They're doing really good here recently. Maybe they've kind of paused on the ATM dilution here for a while until the price goes up a little bit more, and then they're going to pull on it again. All right, so we'll see where IREN goes. That's kind of the things I'm kind of looking at right now. And then Bitfarms, like I said, Bitfarms, if they get a deal for HPCI or something like that later on in the year, they could pop the stock as well. So it's kind of hard to say where they will be at. But I'm saying at the bare minimum, they should be at least 2 to 3x. Benny says need Bitfarms to hit $1.88 to break even. Okay, let's see. You guys are talking about Bitfarms here in the sale there. See, SNH, yeah, so we're talking about this right now as it is. Hi, Seb, I just joined the live. Did Riot sell all the 90 million shares of Bitfarms, or they still hold some shares? I mean, it's confusing. We talked about that. For me, at least, it's confusing. They had a sale date of today, but it could be that they're starting today more or less, and they're going to be selling for a while. On that, Gary Pell's got a question. Why are you so anti-HPCI when they haven't made money in less than a year, but have so much patience with miners being operational and negative for 4 years straight? A good question there. So they're not always 4 years straight of operational negative, right? There's time frames. There's time frames when they are doing really, really well, and at least last cycles. You get the bull run going, and these guys are generating great revenues for like 3 to 4 quarters, and then they go through this time where there's like 3 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, whatever it might be, where they just completely suck because Bitcoin price has gone down 70%. They go down 80, 90% in share price at that point. So, and the reason I'm kind of hesitant on HPCI is because the deals that we've seen so far, the only deals we've seen so far have been with Core Scientific with CoreWeave, right? CoreWeave with Galaxy. We've seen Core 42 with TeraWulf, and nobody else has gotten anything major. We've seen companies like IREN, Hive, Hut 8, Bit Digital as well, get these kind of smaller deals going with the GPUs that they have already or data centers that they have already, right? So we've seen kind of those smaller deals, but nothing major from a hyperscaler. So everybody's talking about all this demand that we're supposed to have. I understand the demand there, but it doesn't look like the hyperscalers are, or at least not yet, that I have seen. Right, when we see a deal, I'll be the first one to say that's congratulations. But right now we haven't seen those deals happening here. And if it's such a demand-driven space and people are trying to get to market as fast as possible, you would think that they would be locking up those megawatts as fast as possible, right? But it's not happening. So what's going on there? That's why I'm on the fence. I'm hesitant about it. Let's see. Stefan says Mara should be at least 30 minimum at this point. Outstanding shares back in December 2024 was 400 million with BTC price at 105,000 now, has 300 million shares outstanding with price, that much bigger hodl position, higher hash rate as well. Par says, I think I might get Mara actually. Okay, I own a little bit. I own not much, 120 shares of that one. Okay, what is the likelihood of Cleanspark getting to 40, about a 4x? I think it's pretty good, right? But I'm going to say, minimum I think it should do at least a 2 to 3x. But 4x I think is possible, right? As long as Bitcoin goes up nicely, their revenue should be increasing nicely. They report a couple of good quarters here. All right, Q2 should be good for them. Q3 should be good for them, right? They report a couple of good quarters, and then if they report they're getting to like 65 or 75 exahash by the end of the year, that could also bode well for the stock there. So we need to see some good numbers from them. All right, Gerard's got a question here. Should we all refuse to allow our brokers to rent out shares for shorting? Less no-off shares available, less shorting. I've heard that before as well. I don't think that actually works. I could be wrong, but I've heard that before that, if you put a much higher sell price on the shares that you have that can't short it, then they can't sell to shorts or something like that. I don't know if that's the case, actually. Kyle asks, how much BTC do you have? Not enough. I will just say that. I have not enough BTC. I'm sure like most of you guys. What if Bitcoin goes to 200,000 Cleanspark and IREN still single digits? Oh, well, then that's going to be terrible, right? That would be terrible. If Bitcoin goes 2x from where it's at right now and the miners do nothing, then I don't know what... I mean, that's just crazy. They're going to be making double what they're making right now in revenue. And their margins are going to be much higher as it is. We'll look at that tomorrow. I think I showed that in there, that the margins are going to be much higher, like 75, 80% for some of these guys, even 86% for some of these guys, when Bitcoin's at like 200,000. So if they're still at that, I mean, that's just manipulation. I can't control that. I don't have the power. I don't have the shares to do it or the money to do it. So it's somebody else manipulating the stock market to their advantage, unfortunately, at that point. Talked about that. Let's see. H says, I think HPCI is great. Big companies like Meta, Microsoft, Alphabet are spending billions on acquisitions into the future, and ready land available is huge. Yeah, I agree. It's huge, but where's the money? I mean, they're making deals with others, or they have other sites that they're going into, right? And the other thing is, like, some of these guys that have huge sites, like IREN has 2 gigawatts potential. Riot's got, 600 megawatts, potentially even more for that as well. And then somebody else. But does one hyperscaler want to put all their chips in one basket? Probably not, right? They like spreading out their infrastructure data centers are across the globe, across the country, and not just in one targeted area because of latency, other things as well, right? So could we see somebody get maybe like 200 to 300 megawatts? Sure. But the whole 2 gigawatts, I find that a little hard. You might be able to get, maybe if you get a couple of hyperscalers in there, okay, that makes kind of sense, right? But one to do that, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that would happen, but I could be wrong. All right. Benny says, ChatGPT said from the filing, SEC filing to selling shares usually takes 3 to 6 months, though it can be faster or slower depending on the company's readiness and SEC's feedback. Why do they need SEC's feedback to sell? It's their shares, they can sell. That part I don't get. So it might be the ChatGPT might be hallucinating there a little bit. Okay. Okay, Omar has a question here. Hey, Seb, I've mentioned this before, but can we pivot to exit indicators at some point during live streams because we don't want to miss the boat to sell? I would say anytime you're in profits, right, there's no shame in taking profits. So you guys definitely have to do that on your own time. I will try and tell you guys when I'm selling as well, but that's something not going to be for quite a while. But if you're in profits and you're in profits nice on these things, take profits, right? There's no shame in that. I probably should be doing that as well, but I'm probably not following my own advice on doing this. I'm trying to maximize the returns. Maybe I'm being too greedy as well, right? And greedy people get slaughtered. So I might be one for slaughter. We'll see. But definitely, if you guys are in profits, take profits. Right? You got to do what's right for you. But we will talk about it as far as, where's Bitcoin at this cycle point, and then, where the miners are, things like that. If things are starting to get a little frothy, but, miners getting 2x from here, they might start saying, take profits if you're up nicely. All right. Weighted Mara went up while Cleanspark lags. I mean, Cleanspark went up nicely. It was up 5.6%, whatever it was, up 6%, something like that. So it went up pretty nice, not as nicely as IREN or Riot, Mara. Mara, you guys posted in the comments that there was a price target from an analyst for like $20 for them. That was possibly it. And something else, I think, as well. But it could be also the shorts changing their tunes there. Okay. Deflex had another question. Your thoughts on Soluna, 9 million market cap and revenue far exceeding their market cap. I know. The only thing I remember about Soluna is they got a new CEO about maybe a year and a half ago, maybe in 2 years now. He's changed things around. They're doing these kind of deals with third parties. So they're bringing them on board to help finance some of the projects that they're working on with them. I don't know if that's the reason for it there. I have no idea. I honestly don't know. Check with Anthony and Bryce on that. I think they cover Soluna as well. And then DFly, are you buying? No, I'm not buying. I'm hoping to start buying back in June. I'm hoping. I should be done with all the expenditures that I have to put out, and it's been painful and unfortunate, but I got to do it. Don't want to end up in the locker with Uncle Sam there. All right. Gary's got a question here. Why do you think Cleanspark has performed worse than the HPC miners over the last 12 months or 12 weeks? No HPC miner announcements in the last 12 weeks, and Bitcoin price has gone to all-time highs. It's actually, Bitcoin has done better as far as percentage drop from the beginning of the year. So it's got that going for it. So I think that's maybe why it's not bouncing as much, because it hasn't come down as much as some of the other miners. So that's the only thing I can think of as far as why in the last 12 weeks. Okay. Okay, Benny says, ChatGPT, no, Riot Platforms did not sell all of their shares on May 27th. The SEC filing on the date indicates that Riot Platforms entered into an equity distribution agreement with the sales agent, allowing them to sell up to $100 million in common stock over time. This means that they can sell shares incrementally as needed rather than all at once. Okay, so it's going to put sell pressure on the stock as the price is starting to go up. They may start selling on it, or unless they put it up there and say, hey, you got to sell it at above $1.80 or something like that, whatever their average is. All right, so that's interesting. All right, so we know that's going to be happening here on Bitfarms. So Bitfarms shareholders, beware. Okay, that's another way to look at it, right? Surely that means they think the price is going up then. Possibly. Okay, Riot selling Bitfarms shares. Yeah, it looks like they're gonna be selling it. What price of Bitcoin will Bitfarms do? No, it's gonna be a while. I mean, with the sell pressure that's happening there, over what is it? Over 100 million, roughly close to 100 million in shares. That's gonna be a while. Depending how fast they sell it. Could be a couple of weeks, could be a couple of months. We'll see. But we would need Bitcoin. I mean, if that's off the table, Riot's got out of their hair, that could be a good thing for them. So we'll see. But I would think $5, I mean, we would need them to get the love from the street, from investors, and then Bitcoin price have to be like 200, 250,000 potentially. We shall see. But they could do better than that quicker. I'm just going lowballing here. Let's see here. Greetings from Ireland, joining live. Many thanks for all you do. You're very welcome. I actually have a family member that's going to be traveling to Ireland tomorrow, so treat him nicely over there. I'm sure you guys will. I have other family members that were in Ireland as well. Lived there for several years, and they're now here in the United States. So they have fond memories of Ireland. And it's one of the countries I'd like to visit as well. What else we got here? Okay, Gary's got a question. Why have all the miners, including Cleanspark? Okay, I talked about that. They best position to evaluate the path has biggest profit. Why have all the miners, excluding Cleanspark, looking to move to HPC? Why wouldn't they be in best position to evaluate what path has biggest profit? So you're talking about Cleanspark, would they have the insight to do that? Well, I kind of question that as well. Cleanspark has a lot of sites, right? What do they have? 30 different sites or something like that? And they're all like 100 to 200 megawatt sites, or even less than that, some of them. Those might be kind of interesting for hyperscalers as well, right? Having different locations in different areas as well, not all concentrated in one spot. I don't know. They want to be the best Bitcoin miner out there. Everybody else is kind of positioning, and I don't know. Or it could be that they sites that they do have, maybe there is no interest from the HPC AI guys. That could be it also, right? So they're not getting the conversations there. So they're like, well, we're not going to transition into this or force it into that. I don't know. Let's see. DeFi says Mara is the only miner that can get listed on the S&P 500. I don't know if they're the only one. They're not being valued properly as it is right now. So, and I don't know what the requirements are for the S&P 500. I know you have to be over a certain market cap for number of quarters, I think, or something like that. And then you get added into it as well. See, every day with Mommy and Moon. Back on April 9th, Riot came out with the news that they sold 39% stake in Bitfarms. Maybe they will sell the rest. That's why Bitfarms stock price hasn't risen. No, the 39% difference was in the revaluation of the number of shares Bitfarms has. Because Bitfarms went through the acquisition of Stronghold, which then diluted the shares there. So that's got the readjustment of the number of shares they had. So that wasn't a sale at that point. I don't think that was a sale at that point. SNH says, I think Bitfarms will start moving higher after this news. New funds like the no takeover effect. That could be it too. I'm no expert at this, so we'll see where they end up here in the next couple weeks, couple months, I guess. All right. Eric says, do you think any miner that has done better than holding Bitcoin? I can't find one. They have short period of outperformance, but continued down. Is there a reason to expect differently? Bitcoin price going up. That's the only way you expect it. IREN, I think, let me see if I got this here. If we look at the stock performance on these guys here, I think at certain points from, where was it at? If you got in at the bottom, right, on these guys here, there's one that has outperformed. So if you got in right around the end of December of 2022, and like early January 2023, right? If you bought in at that period, only one has outperformed Bitcoin here, and that's been IREN. IREN's up 676%. Since then, Bitcoin is up 527%. Some of the other ones are close to where Bitcoin is, but they definitely haven't outperformed. And that's a result of the halving, right? I think that's a result of the halving with them not outperforming Bitcoin. But as Bitcoin goes up, and I think they might start to outperform here in the next 3 to 6 months, based on what we've seen in the past cycles. And then if this is an extended cycle, then that could definitely be a whole different story for us as well. So, take that for what it is. And then also we got, if you look at like CORZ Scientific here recently, right? When they went basically the bankruptcy. If you got them in bankruptcy, you're probably doing really good again on that one. So depending on when you got into these guys, some do perform better than others, and they do outperform Bitcoin at certain periods as well. We saw that with before the halving event where Bitcoin was going up to 73,000. We saw the miners greatly outperform Bitcoin, doing much better, but then they got killed, unfortunately, with the halving event. That took them down, and now we're starting to rebuild that, possibly value there. We'll see. All right, go back here. And I think I'm catching up to all your guys' questions here. What else? Talked about that one already. Brad says, there is a way of thinking that the only thing that matters is going forward since we can't live backwards. So I want to find the best thing going forward. Maybe that is Cleanspark. Yeah, maybe. Right, I say Cleanspark might be the best because of the no dilution. Could there be other ones that perform better because of HPC deals that they get? Yes, there's always that possibility there. And like I keep saying, we're only one good news story away from these guys going like crazy. Probably question, good for Bitfarms with Riot off their backs or bad for Bitfarms with huge selling pressure? That's double-edged sword there, right? The good news is they got Riot possibly off their backs. The bad news is there's going to be selling pressure on it. So I think the selling pressure, if it's the shorter the better, right? Get it done and over with. But yeah, if it's one of those things where it just continues to keeps the stock down, then it might not be good. But then if it does end at one point, it might actually rocket the stock up higher. So we'll see. H says, pumping tomorrow. See you tomorrow when we are up 30%. Okay, that'd be awesome to see. I'm sure a lot of you guys would be happy to see that. Harris got a question here. What if the miners don't run 3 to 6 months from now? Will you sell? At that point, yeah, Bitcoin's up 200,000. The miners are not doing what they are. I'm still in positive in them. So even if they're at this current levels, except for Bitfarms, I'd like to see at least go a little bit. I would still be in the green on it overall. So I'd probably sell at that point. I don't think, yeah, Bitcoin's at 200,000. These things are not doing what they would normally do, go up in value because the revenue they're generating there. I would probably end up selling at that point. It's like, okay, how much longer do I have to wait? Do we need Bitcoin at 300,000 and then wait till 300,000? Miners are still at the same spot. Yeah, so it'll depend on how much dilution they have. And that's why I say Cleanspark with no dilution might be the better run, but we'll see. Okay. 8 says not financial advice. Yeah, obviously not financial advice, right? We always say this in the beginning of the video. Not financial advice, but only do your own research. There's a reason we say this. It's just, our thoughts. What are we thinking? Where do we see things possibly going and things like that? But never financial advice. All right, so we've got up to all your guys' questions here. Tomorrow we'll take a look at the miners, what they possibly might be at Bitcoin 200,000 as far as the low end and maybe the higher end of the spectrum as well. And then we'll see whatever else news we get from the Bitcoin mining conference as well, or anything else that's happening, any bullish news on Bitcoin miners, things like that. Like I said, there's always, it seems like we're getting more and more of these news stories about Bitcoin doing this or that, or people seeing it doing that. So there's always, I guess, a sunlight at the end of the tunnel. Yes. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you as always for coming in. Love you guys for that. Thank you for all the likes and subscribers and everybody else. So if you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button. Doesn't cost you guys a thing. Definitely helps me out though. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday, hump day. We'll cover where things end up at that point. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.